So we're gonna get
In the wake of Nipsey Hussle's death, I know there was a lot of speculation, absent a conclusive police report, as to who his assailants were and what were the motivations. And I was disturbed to see a pattern of thinking that I think the African American community in particular has to resist, and that is the temptation to always want to attribute misfortunes in our communities to unseen conspiratorial forces without acknowledging the real role that members of our own community play in our demise. There are the struggle that Americans all across the nation are having is that there are powerful forces, distant forces outside of our community that we can't do very much to control. But the one thing that we can do is to hold a conversation amongst ourselves where we insist on a higher standard of comportment. And the reality is, anyone who lives in a hood, in African, whatever hood you live in, the reality is that the first group of people responsible for much of this violence is members of our own community. And I mention this because I don't know why people want to try to connect Nipsey Hussle's death to a conspiracy to undo the legacy of Dr. Sebi or whatever, when the starting point for all criticisms that reflect on what happened is the penchant for violence amongst some members of our community, especially too many young brothers who's in gangs, who are indiscriminate with the violence. And the first line of criticism needs to be made to those brothers, and less so sisters, who create a climate of fear and hostility in the communities that are driving people away. Because so many folks are abandoning our communities, we are abandoning our communities because the level of violence is frightful and people don't want to put at risk, if not their own quality of living, certainly the quality of living of the ones that they love. You can't, it's very difficult if you have resources to justify raising a family in a community where you feel that you have a strong or good chance of not making it home because someone shot you or stabbed you when you was just minding your business. And I think we need to be honest about that. We're not going to be able to grow as a people. The United States, America as a whole, cannot grow unless everyone has the courage to answer to their own shortcomings and to demand a higher standard. Not just from America as a whole, but Black America needs to do the same thing when looking at what has transpired, because there are things that we can do. And to hold ourselves accountable is not necessarily a conservative thing. It is to say that this is within our power and there is something that we can do about it. So that's my thought.